Hello everyone and welcome back. In this lecture, we will talk about the database files. We said before that the database is organized collection of information. It contains collection of database files stored in disk. So this is the physical, so we can see it in our eyes. Okay. Actually, we have 9 types of files in the database. The most 3 important is the database files, the control files, and the radiolog files. And we have also other type of files. We will understand all these type of files in this lecture. Let's start. First thing and the most important is the data files. Actually, it contains the actual user's data, the application data, metadata, data dictionary, tables, rows, indexes, procedures, views. So this is the data files. Now, if you lose the data files, this means you are losing your database. The extension for the data files is .dbf, database file. The second database file, it's called control files. And the control files stores metadata about the data files and online radiolog files. What is the meaning of metadata about the data files? So it contains informations about the data files and also the online radiolog files, like the name, the locations for these database files, the statuses, and this information is required by the database instance in order to open the database. Okay? And it's very important that if you lose also the control files, you lose your database. The extension for the control file is .ctl. So the control files contain metadata about the data files. Now, the third and also very important is the radiolog files. And we talked about radiolog files before. So the radiolog files stores changes to the database as they occur and are used for data recovery. So these files contains the changes that happened to the database, like DML and DCL operations. Also, if you lose the radiolog files, then you are losing your database. The extension for radiolog file is .log. Okay. We have also database backup files. It's from the name, it's very clear, backup files. So it includes any backups for your database that you have taken and place it somewhere safe. Note, it should include the data files, control files, and radiolog files. So we can understand that the main important files are data files, control files, and the radiolog files. We have also archived radiolog files, and actually it is a group of radiolog files. So it contains ongoing history of the data changes. So a group of radiolog files equal to the archived radiolog files. A very important note. Using the archived radiolog files and the backup files, then you can recover your database. In order to understand this point, let's go to the next slide. Now I have my database. Now the clock is 8 a.m. I try to make a backup at 8 a.m. So I have this backup. So this backup contains data as 8 o'clock. Now maybe the backup will take 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever. Okay? So remember that the backup only contains the data as 8 a.m. Now a very important note. During the backup, Oracle database still generate the archived redo logs, which contain the changes that happen to the database. Remember this, and this is very important. Now, suppose that at 10 o'clock, I have database crashed. So my database crashed for some reason, right? I want to restore the database. How can I backup and restore the database? So it's very simple. To restore the database, I need the backup that I did, but this backup contains data as 8 o'clock only. So I have 2 hours, and these 2 hours, a lot of a transaction happened, but all these transactions are saved in the archived redo log. So I need this backup plus this archived redo logs. This means that I am recovering the database 100% without losing any information. So this is the most important thing you should know about the backup files and the archived redo logs. Okay, let's continue. We have also parameter file. We have 2 types of parameter file, SP file and P file. Don't worry, we will understand these in details. The parameter file defines how the database instance is configured when it starts up. So for example, contains parameters like, for example, PGA aggregate target. So it contains all this information that it's very important for the instance. Now, a very important note. The SP file is a binary file. You cannot edit directly. It should be by Oracle commands. So if you lose the SP file, no issue, you can recreate it again. But it's better to back up the SP file always. We will talk about the SP file and P file later, don't worry. So it is a very important file in order the instance to be configured. Now we have a password file. The password file stores password for users with administrative privileges, like the sys user. And the sys user is the highest privilege. Remember this. But the question, why I have this password file? Okay, DBA password cannot be stored in the database because Oracle cannot access the database before the instance is started. Therefore, the authentications of the DBA must happen outside the database. Also, we have alert log file. And this is a chronological log of messages and errors written by an Oracle database. When I say chronological, this means a sequential. So it's a sequential order. So it contains messages and errors. So this is your go-to file in case you are trying to troubleshoot a problem with your database. For example, the alert log file contains information about when the database was started and stopped. Besides that, it contains a huge of information that will help you to troubleshoot any problem. And finally, we have the trace file. Actually, each server and background process writes to a trace file. So when a process detects an internal error, it writes information about the error to its trace file. So this is all the types of files in the database. Don't worry, we will go more deep later in the practical sections. So thank you for listening and see you in the next video.